is, first of all,
as far as latitude and longitude, and if you're not following this or tracking it, most people like to just say, how many miles east is it of us? And right now it's 100 miles east of Miami, I can tell you that. And once again, that is from the center of the eye of the hurricane. Remember, the winds that extend outwards beyond the eye reach a good 100 miles. So yes, we are starting to feel what is the beginning of the tropical storm force winds. Right now, that is anywhere from 40 to about 74 miles an hour. Of course, 75 being the cutoff for hurricane storm force winds, or hurricane force winds, just the same. Again, as far as tracking a hurricane, you really couldn't have picked an easier one to track. It's been very much on course, meaning right now, if it keeps going at the momentum that we feel that it will, it should arrive, that is, the eye of the hurricane should arrive by daybreak. Right now, it is, again, backing winds of 140 miles an hour, and the beaches are already starting to feel the effects of the tropical storm force winds. And once again, I reiterate, they are anywhere from 40 to 74 miles per hour. Now, also, one other thing I'd like to mention with this system, as it did move through NASA, a lot of questions were being asked. Why wasn't NASA hit as hard? NASA, again, was on the weaker end of the storm system. What happens is, I don't know if you can zoom in a little bit. We've got this behind me, and Dr. Bob Sheets has been working so busy. He's been so busy all day and all night. But where NASA is, again, it's on the southern or the weaker side of the system. The eye of the hurricane is in the middle. The stronger winds are in the northwestern quadrant, and basically they are backing speeds, again, of 140 miles an hour along the wall. But as it moves or motions to the west, take the top spins as well, the top speed, which is now 60 miles an hour. Add that to the 140 miles an hour, and that area that will be hit by those winds will be probably the hardest hit area. So that's why when we were talking about our Michael Williams earlier, who's in NASA, that's why he wasn't experiencing the brunt end or the worst part of the system, but that is not
o'clock in the Cutler Ridge area, Homestead area, Florida City area. That's where the eye will most likely make landfall, judging by all the information that's at hand right now. Penny, Joan?
Thank you, Steve. You know, we're already beginning to get reports of some major damage. We understand, we just got word that a transformer blew in downtown Fort Lauderdale. All of the street lights are apparently out. It's apparently just gone dark in downtown Fort Lauderdale. So, as I said, reports of major damage already coming in.
We've also got an update from the wire services. Dr. Sheets was telling us he had one death confirmed in the Bahamas in Luther Island. According to the Bahamian government, now 4 people have been killed in the storm. We believe that they were either on Luther Island or Abaco Island. But again, that's 4 deaths in the Bahamas. Oh, I see. So, rather than Dade Broward line, does that bode a little bit worse for the Keys then? We're pretty concerned about that area.
Well, they're going to get more of an offshore flow and off of Florida Bay, so they're going to get some problems in the upper Keys as a result of that. But the worst part is, again, the onshore flow there on the north side, Key Biscayne, downtown Miami, here in Coral Gables, and so on northward into the Miami Beach area.
Okay, Dr. Sheets, thank you very much, and we'll check back with you in just a few minutes. I think now we have the opportunity to go live to our photographer, Ralph Rayburn, who is at Hallandale Beach Boulevard and A1A. Ralph, are you with us?
Okay, I'm not sure he's quite ready.
Yes.
Okay, he's ready now.
Yeah.
There he
He
is.
is ready, just ready. Ralph, what are you seeing? What are you hearing?
Well, I certainly hope you're seeing a picture at this point.
We
We're
do,
looking,
yes, we do.
Yeah, that's the tower, and you're looking back, looking west right now. Yeah, I'm going to come back to the truck for a second, get something to wipe the lens off from Adam Rice, and we'll take a little walk out here on the beach. Let me see. Okay. Pardon the darkness for a second there. We'll just keep moving
It
here.
looks pretty good, Ralph. Keep going.
Okay.
We can see well. Thank you.
Yeah.
How does it feel to you from the time that you showed us those other pictures?
I think I should start gaining weight because I feel like a kite here with this big yellow jacket on. It's starting to blow pretty strong. It's not just pushing me backwards right now. There's an empty lifeguard stand here. Hopefully I get a shot down here and show you some of the waves. I'm going to wipe the lens off one more time here. Hang on.
Well, while you're doing that, we have to point out that Ralph Rayburn is about, what would you say, Joan, 6'4", and definitely not a little guy, and he feels like he's being blown around like
Throw a little
leaf.
light on here. Anyway, you can see the rain's coming almost due sideways now, right into the lens of the camera. I'm sure that Will Harbison, our operations manager, is going to be happy with the condition of this camera when we get done. I'll wipe the lens again here. Anyway, we're not going to hang here too long because we've been listening to Bob Sheets, and he knows more about this stuff than we do, but we wanted to give our viewers at home a chance to see what it's like for the people down here as I stumble over something.
As you're making your way back to wherever you're going, and we'll take whatever shots you can give us during that time, how was the driving out there at this point?
Well, Adam Rice, one of our live truck engineers who's operating this unit we're working from, pointed out some bus benches on Hallandale Beach Boulevard that had already been blown over by the wind. So the bus benches are made of all of concrete and some plywood. You got to figure that the winds are pretty strong to blow those things over.
You know, that rain looks almost like hail. Does it look that way to you there?
I'm sorry, I got to wipe the lens again. There's a tremendous amount of sand mixed with this rain right now, and it's whipping around here pretty strong. These, amazingly, what are these things called here?
Chaise lounges.
Yeah, thank you very much. Well, it's kind of hard.
That's a nice way of putting it.
They're strapped down, but none of them have started flying yet. We're not going to hang here too much longer, but we did want to give you guys a picture.
Okay, your wife, Jan, will be happy to hear that you're not going to hang there too much longer, but we certainly appreciate the pictures, Ralph, and we'll get back to you if you have anything else in a little while.
Okay.
I've just been handed a piece of paper from our producer monitoring our wire services. We understand there was a big fire. This is a big fire at Northwest 172nd Avenue and Biscayne. It's a two-story building. This note says it will most likely have to burn to the ground, and they do think it was started by the hurricane. Whether it'll burn to the ground because no one can get to it or it's just not worth the effort, we don't know. I'm not sure what...
Thanks a lot, Steve. We'll get back to you in a few minutes. Right now, we are going to Carlos Harrison, who is live in Broward County at Hallandale Beach Boulevard and A18. Carlos, tell us...
We are out here at Hallandale Beach Boulevard.
To what we would know as Broward Boulevard, along that area. Now, for the most part, they're hit-and-miss areas, not exactly what you would say a massive area. There might be a 5 or 6 block area without power, then another 5 or 6 block area with power, so it's almost at intervals. We have spoken with some Florida Power and Light officials, and they're basically telling us when they have a lot of transformers go or when they have a lot of power lines go down, the way they're going to deal with it is they're just going to go ahead and let that entire area shut off. Unless there's a real emergency, they're not going to be sending crews in there with these winds that we're going to be experiencing now to try and put the telephone poles or the electric poles back up or fix the transformers. They'll do it after the hurricane is gone, and that would be sometime tomorrow around probably 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock.
Is it the winds that are causing these transformer explosions, do you think? What is causing it? It's obviously from the hurricane, but what part of the hurricane is causing these things to happen?
You know, we experienced a couple of these. We got to see firsthand a little while ago when we were driving down here. Actually, it's not a little while ago anymore. It's about 2 or 3 hours ago. We actually saw them blow. It seemed to us at the time the only possible explanation for it could have been the wind, because there was nothing else happening at the time other than the wind. So
Hours ago. We also have a report of a large fire at Northeast 172nd and Biscayne Boulevard. And I think this would be part of the evacuation area, actually. Don't know what building this is. Well, apparently it was a building where boats were being built, some sort of a boat building. Don't know what it is. Might have been a marina, I'm not sure. Northeast 172nd and Biscayne Boulevard, apparently a large fire, and apparently the fire department is not going to be responding to this at this time, so if there's a fire, it's probably going to just have to burn itself out.
we've just been told it's Mako Marina, where that fire that you're speaking of was. Just recognizing some of those pictures that Ralph just showed us, Ralph Raymond we refer to. That's the area right behind, not far from Channel 7 actually. It's around 163rd and Collins Avenue where some of these pictures are taken. And again, you know, you really don't get the full brunt of the hurricane or the full brunt even of the storm in these pictures. These
The bridge going over to Holliver.
These pictures, you look at them right now, they don't look any different than a thunderstorm in South Florida on any particular day. I mean, there's nothing extremely dramatic about these pictures. An overturned tree in South Florida is not a revelation, as a matter of fact. Jillian Ware has been following the situation for us for a while now. You know, you can't help but wonder, Jillian, if the folks in the Keys who we were always so concerned about, actually, because of the position of the hurricane, the way it's coming in, as far down as Key West, they've kind of lucked out, haven't they?
They certainly have, and when you consider that on the south side of the eye, it's one of the weaker areas, if you can call any area a weak area within a hurricane. Rick, you're probably right in your assessment because, again, as Michael was mentioning when he was reporting from the Nassau area, and he was saying, you know, it was incredibly somber. You would expect something a little more dramatic.